The 19th Amendment, ratified back in 1920, was mostly a victory for white women. It left many women of color still fighting for the right to vote. NBC News correspondent Trymaine Lee joins us now to discuss his latest Into America podcast. This one is Into Black Women and the 19th Amendment. Trymaine, tell us about this conversation that you had in your new podcast.
Thanks for having me, Allison. So I spoke with Martha Jones, who is an historian and professor at Johns Hopkins University, who has a new book about black women really being the vanguard of the voting rights movement and the suffrage movement for women. You know, sometimes we think back to, Susan B. Anthony or Elizabeth Cady Stanton as the mothers of feminism and the suffrage movement. But there is a glaring omission, not just of the black women like Ida B. Wells, Sojourner Truth, or Jerlina Lee, who pushed the agenda of voting for all women, but they were actually racist. Elizabeth Cady Stanton, in the lead up to the 15th Amendment, which would have given, which gave the right to vote to all men, including black men, she described black men as little more than rapists who would degrade white women if given the right to vote. Obviously, to the great applause and enthusiasm of the Klan and other racists in this country. But again, this conversation with Martha Jones on Into America was a really good conversation that really made them, black women, invisible no more. Let's take a listen.
There are a record number of black women running for Congress in 2020. Biden had 6 black women on his short list. Ultimately, he selects Senator Kamala Harris as the first black woman on a major party ticket. What's the significance of all this? Is this just the culmination of all that work over the last 100+ years? What does this moment mean?
I think it is a culmination. In my book, it's a culmination really of 200 years, which is to say black women have been at this a very long time. And this is, Kamala Harris does not drop from the heavens, right? She grows out of black women's politics across many generations. And when you look at a figure like Senator Harris or Representative Ayanna Pressley or Leader Stacey Abrams, these are women, when you ask them, they will tell you, I come out of a political tradition. And it's not the political tradition exemplified by Elizabeth Cady Stanton or Alice Paul at all. It is a political tradition that these women will tell you easily comes out of Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman, Mary McLeod Bethune, Ida B. Wells, Shirley Chisholm, Barbara Jordan. Black women understand their own political history and how we come to be where we are in 2020.
As Martha Jones so eloquently said right there, as is the same in the case with most freedom struggles and the right for votes, there's a continuum here from those black women who fought against societal pressure and racism, even among the ranks of the other suffragettes, that there's a clear line from then to what we see now. Allison?
The history is just absolutely incredible. Trymaine, we know that the fight for racial justice is far from over, even in 2020. What are some of the other issues that came up in your conversation?
You know, mostly about the ongoing push for voting rights. You think about the long lines we've seen in recent elections, other voter suppression efforts like voter ID and continue, issues like that. And we continue to see black women pushing and pushing and pushing the boundaries. Let's not forget that they are the most loyal voting bloc to the Democratic Party. And so when we think about 2020, this high stakes election, we talked a lot about just the groundwork that had been laid so long ago, continuing to reverberate today, especially in the power and force that are black female voters.
He's a podcast host. He's a Pulitzer Prize winner. I just love saying that. Trymaine Lee, thanks so much for coming back on and being with us.
Thank you as always, Dawson. I appreciate it.
And you can download and listen to the full Into America episode, Into Black Women and the 19th Amendment, wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.